What's going on, you guys? What's going on? Hope you guys are having a good afternoon. I wanted to jump on here and just share my thoughts a little bit and, about this whole situation, which I eloquently call it the slapback, with Will Smith and Chris Rock. So that happened, it happened on this past Sunday at the Oscars, of all places. So, what is really the deal? Um, is that Chris Rock made an off-color joke, or I should say, off the collar joke about GI Jane in reference to Jada Pinkett Smith, Will's wife. We're not really about. It's just I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. So first off, before we continue, I wanted to preface this with I don't condone violence of any type. I believe you should always try to solve your problems with words and with your mind because things are more effective that way. And you show you have a little bit more maturity, a little bit more class, a little bit more character as a person. Not saying if you don't have character, but it shows more of that if you choose to use your words. But suffice to say, I understand. Now back to the story. So on Sunday, Chris Rock is hosting the Oscars, and he's doing his bit and everything like that. He usually, he's a comedian. He takes pot shots at people in the crowd to kind of warm people up, kind of thing, get people going. It's to be expected. And then you have to remember too, Chris Rock is Chris Rock. He, again, not condoning what he said, but he is that comedian that takes things to that precipice. Like, is it cool? Is it not cool? Is it okay to laugh? Kind of thing. Those that have been the type of jokes that he makes throughout his career. So to the situation, he's up there doing a set, and he sees Jada Pinkett Smith, says, "Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you." And he points to her and kind of chuckles a little bit. It was meant to be. It was meant to be a throwaway joke about Jada's hairstyle at the Oscars Sunday, but it definitely, in my opinion, wasn't poor taste. Right? It definitely wasn't poor taste. So he laughed. He laughed it off a little bit, not too hard, but he laughed it off. And then obviously the camera pans to Will, and Will open mouth laughs a little bit, not loud, but just enough to people notice that he's laughing. But when he looks over at Jada, he notices that she's giving Chris that look like, "I know you didn't just go there." Now, let me take a second here. She goes on Instagram Live a while back now and puts it out there a while back now about her struggles with alopecia. If you don't know what alopecia is, it's something that, um, you know, you have dealing with hair loss and things like that. And she had been really, really in a tough spot with the struggle with alopecia, and she even showed the bravery on getting on Instagram Live and with her followers and showed them. So she basically cut her hair real low. Now, for a bit of context here, for those of us watching this that are not quite up there in age to remember the reference with G.I. Jane, G.I. Jane is a movie that came out in the early 90s with Demi Moore, and she basically shaves her head in order to try to get into the armed forces. I forget which branch of the military, but she shaves her head and she tries to get in as as a male, but to prove herself, to prove her worth, that it doesn't matter that she's a woman, but she can do what she needs to do in that situation. Now, I get the fact that Chris was trying to just make a throwaway reference and try to be funny, but I am here to tell you, as a husband, just if you spent any kind of time noticing the woman you love, what's her hot points, what's her hot buttons, what's her struggles, what she's dealing with, and how she handles certain situations. Now, the thing about this is that was a bad move for Chris Rock, regardless if he knew or not. Regardless if he knew her struggles with alopecia, he really had no call making that joke. That was a bad call. Now, there's a lot of opinions online about it. Was it wrong what Will did? Was it right what Will did? Or was Chris Rock wrong? Should Will be taking it that seriously? Should they just laugh it off and should not have acted the way he did? And here's my opinion on that. Chris, wrong, because he should have paid attention and known, because he a grown man, that you don't take it to a black woman's or any woman's hair, especially commenting on a hairstyle. You should never, and I do mean never, take it to a woman's hair and try to poke fun. That's not cool. Now, so to Will now, I'm definitely saying slapping someone, regardless on live national TV or not, is wrong. Solving your problems with anything but words or with intellect is wrong. First is wrong, right? He should not have gone there and done that, because there's always a better way to handle your problems without striking someone. With that said, I understand it. I understand why he did what he did. I'm not condoning it, but I understand why he did it. Now, obviously, going back to where he not busted out laughing, but he laughed in the very very beginning when the punchline hit. He laughed, but then he turned to his wife and he seen she wasn't feeling it. She was really hurting because, I don't know. You look at the face. Go back and look at Jada's face right when that punchline hit. She wasn't laughing. She wasn't smiling, not even a little bit about that joke. So, when he noticed that his wife was really hurting by that joke, she didn't find it funny. He figured he need to not only, not in my opinion now, he needs to go ahead and assert his place as her husband. Now, husband is your protector, right? So he would go and assert himself as her husband to try to show, baby, I got your back. Now, what he did by going up on stage and slapping the mess out of Chris Rock was definitely wrong, because he should have at least waited till he came on stage to talk to him. Or if you're gonna say something like, okay, you sitting in the crowd, somebody makes a bad joke and stuff like that, it really doesn't go over well, especially when it's about you or somebody you love. Okay, so an outburst, hey, that's not cool, knock it off, kind of thing. Yeah, that's a lot better than stepping up there and smacking the taste out of someone's mouth. Now, if y'all notice, Chris Rock ain't even touch his face. He ain't even try to play it off like he didn't just get mollywop smacked. He took it and he realized, okay, yeah, I goofed that up. I goofed that up real good. And and again, the outburst afterwards. So after Will smacks him, Will walks off stage, and Chris was like, "Wow, dude! Like, it was a GI Jane joke." And at that point, that's him. That's Chris Rock trying to save face. Like, yo, I know I messed up, but it's a joke. Like, joke. I'm a comedian. You know, I'm joking. But at that point, you can't placate somebody by making a statement like that. You're a comedian, yes, it's a joke, yes, but choosing to say that particular sentence at that time was not smart. So when Will returned to his seat, he just basically said, "Keep my wife's name out your effing mouth." And he didn't just say it once; he said it twice, because when Chris tried to reassert the fact that he's making a joke, Will was like, "Yeah, I understand, but keep my wife's name out your mouth." Basically. So, like, people are getting online and saying that, he was right to smack Chris and stuff like that, because, that's what I would have done, you know what I'm saying? That's what people are saying. But let's think about this, people. Like, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, you have done at least one time or another in your life, you've done something or you said something where immediately as it falls out your lips, you realize that, oh my goodness, I should not have said that. And you wish you could grab them words out the air and pull it back in, because you realize that was not a good idea at the time. So, he messed up. They both messed up, in my opinion, because, yeah, it's a bad situation. You didn't like what somebody said to you, but, Will, come on now. Come on now. You a husband just like I'm a husband. You know what I'm saying? You care about your wife just like we care about our wives as husbands. But you gotta show another way. You really do have to show another way. Right? You really have to show another side of yourself, especially as a black man in America. Like, you really have to step up there and remember that, yeah, you kind of got to think things through a little bit, especially at the Oscars. The Academy Awards is not a place to carry. You have to carry yourself a certain way when you go somewhere. That's how come people will say, you can't take nobody nowhere, right? And I'm not saying this against you. Well, I know I love Will. I love his work, but I love your work, but that's why people say you can't take people some places. You know what I'm saying? And granted, like I said, I understand where he's coming from. I understand why he did what he did. But when people, like, the Oscars and the people behind the Oscars are meeting to decide whether or not to have additional consequences levied against Will because he struck a presenter that they hired at the Academy Awards. So, you have to know that, it's just not going to go over well. You're not going to not have something happen. I mean, on the one hand, you could look at Chris Rock and say, "Look, man, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? You put the man's wife out there." And people, for a little bit of context here, a little more context here, it wasn't the first time that Chris Rock took a quote unquote stab at Jada for something, or just being there. He took a stab at her, because even the last time he did that, when she was the butt of another one of his jokes, when she protested the Oscars back in 2016, to say that, was she really invited to the Oscars in 2016 because she was protesting the lack of minority representation in the nominations and in the winners of the Oscars in 2016. With that said, bro, you knew, to Chris Rock, you knew that it might not be a good idea. Like you ever think about something in your head, and you just got a small inkling down there somewhere that it's not gonna be good if you do. You might not want to do that. Sometimes we gotta listen to that. And he really didn't. I he really didn't. And again, wrong on both ends because it's not a good look. Publicity wise, just in all shapes and sizes, all way around the coin you look at it, it's just wrong. Because, we gotta be out there doing better because listen to me. In the black community, in the brown community, any minority is we're already at a disadvantage in some circles. You're already coming with weights on your ankles, right? Don't make situations worse by showing yourself out, right? Don't make that kind of claim. Don't step into these situations and not handle yourself correctly. We supposed to, because we know as a minority community, because you step into a situation, especially the Academy Awards, man, you got to support yourself a little better. Some bad happened, but the first instinct should not be to reach down and slap somebody silly. Even though, they did say something that was untoward and directed it towards a family member of yours. You could be upset, you could be mad, you could be whatever you want to call it, but there's always a better way to handle a situation like that. Now again, let's remember here, the man stepped out there when, he will thought he was defending his wife's honor, which is fine, but it's the way you choose to go about doing something. My mom and my dad always says there is a right way to do something and there is a wrong way to do something, right? Another quote is, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. It's the decision that you choose to make when something happens to you in life that decides your outcome. So people, in closing here, let's make better choices. Regardless of what happens in life, we must choose. We must think first. And then you act. The Bible says, such as the man thinketh, so is he. So you gotta watch what happens when you have that choice to make, because we all have choices. This one was definitely a bad one, and unfortunately they're going to be talking about it for quite some time, and I pray that Will does not lose his Academy Award for his portrayal of Venus and Serena's dad and King Richard. I honestly hope that he does get to keep his Academy Award, but they're definitely talking about some kind of consequence. So you have to know that there are things that are going to happen. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, right? So we have to do better, guys. We have to, right? Even celebrities, everybody, we have to do better. No one is above the choices that they make. All right? That's my reaction. And until next time, guys, live life, love God. See you when I see you. Peace.